A special edition for the graduates. Today, the Dr. Stem Show will be focused on encouraging, empowering, educating, advising all the graduates that have graduated this season 2016. Congratulations to all of you. I know some of you have graduated from middle school to high school to college, college to life. Did I say life? Maybe business. I don't know where you're going. But today's show, I have a special guest. Her name is Andrele Jean-Charles. She is a lady that I recently met that I think we connect really well, and her wisdom and advice will help you navigate wherever it is that you're going to be going. So once again, congratulations and welcome to the Dr. Stem Show, and welcome, Andrele.
Thank you for having me.
Oh my God, it happened.
It did, finally.
You know what, I gotta tell the people what happened. I recently took a training, Parenting Journey, and Andrele was our trainer. And it's amazing, the last day of training, what she asked us to do the class, she said, you know, you're going to do a presentation and present it to the class about Parenting Journey. And it's interesting, the group that I was training with, they all said, oh my God, why don't we be on the Dr. Stem Show? And I'm thinking, how are we going to act that? So we put out, you know, the Dr. Stem Show and put it out there, and it was hilarious. Yes. How did you find it?
It was amazing. It was very thought out, very detailed. Wish you could have been there.
I know, right?
Yes.
So that's what gave me the idea. When they said that, and I'm going, oh my God, I could actually have our trainer come there and we just talk about life, and we can talk to the graduates, because I love the way that you presented that training. You are really, really a great trainer.
Kind words.
Yeah,
thank you.
That was really nice. So before we start, why don't we get to know you and tell us a little bit about you? In fact, tell the audience about who you are.
Gladly. Well, first of all, I want to say thank you for having me on the show. I do feel that you are that new long-lost friend. I feel like I've known you forever, but we only just met, so this is priceless. I appreciate this.
Thank you.
So about myself, I am originally from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, of descent of Haitian roots. So it's definitely something that I hold dear. Whenever anybody asks me who I am, I definitely always say I'm Haitian Canadian. And I recently moved to Boston back in 2008. I graduated from my master's degree, a Master's of Divinity in Counseling, in 2008. And I promise you, the whole period I had 04, 08 on my mind. What was that? April 2008 was the date I was holding on to for my graduation, because I wanted to be set free. And so I was very excited to graduate in 2008, and I was determined to get started in my career, so that made me make that decision to leave Canada and move to the States, where I knew I would have a better chance of finding employment and therefore gaining the skills that I needed as a therapist. So since moving here, I met my husband, and we married and have 2 lovely children, and he gave me a wedding gift of a stepdaughter. So we are a lovely family of 5 and doing what we do here in Massachusetts.
I like that you know what? I think what held you more is that you had a goal. You had something that you were looking forward to. You had a date.
Yes.
And also a place that you were going to go. You were going to move from Canada.
Yes.
Wow, that is awesome. And that was in 2008.
2008.
So let's go back. High school. Graduating from high school. Did you know what you're going to do in college at that time? That, you know, the degree that you're going to go to, to do?
I think my experience education-wise has been really all over the map.
Yes.
I graduated in 1994 from high school, and at that time, I thought I was going to be a mechanical engineering technologist. So I did get to college, and I got into mechanical engineering, loved it. I was the only woman in the group. I was getting scholarship offers. I was the only, I'm not African American, but the only Black person in my cohort. So I had a whole lot of opportunities, but what I quickly learned, while I loved what I was learning, I knew it was not what I wanted to do. And because of that, I decided, let me stop this degree so that I don't end up feeling stuck. And I chose to step down from that degree and then moved on into social sciences. So I got a diploma in social sciences before going on to university
And then you took what at university now?
So the journey continues. So I got accepted in university in business administration doing management information systems.
Okay.
It was a great degree, great program. But once again, I found myself questioning, did I want to do this for the rest of my life? And at that time, it's really all or nothing. You're never thinking, I can do this degree and I'll change and I'll do another degree later on. You're always thinking what I'm getting into is for the rest of my life. So I asked myself, do I want to do this for the rest of my life? And I said, no. And I thought, let me take a moment. And I got out, I stopped the program, and I started a technical program in photography because I just loved photography. Oh, okay. So I wanted to do photography, and I wanted a break. So I thought, let me just get into photography. Yes. And it was great, but that was around the time September 11th happened. Oh, yeah. I was doing photography with the thought of doing photojournalism because I love people, I love engaging and interacting with people. So photography, right? Yes. Photojournalism. Yeah. September 11th happened. And what I realized quickly was that my instinct was not to pick up a camera, but was to actually get in there and help.
And help people. Wow.
So I had a conversation with my professor, and I said, my instinct was not to take a picture. And he said, that's okay. That just means you're not a photojournalist. So that started the process of me looking into colleges in Toronto, Ontario, so I can get into therapy. That's when I kind of made that connection. I'm called to really be a social servant some way, somehow. And what capacity? I had to do some research, but that's when I transitioned and made the move to go to Toronto, where I did my undergrad I did a bachelor's of religious education, and then I did my master's of divinity in counseling, knowing that the work would be so demanding, I needed something to ground me. So that's why I opted to do the divinity, so I would have my own thing grounding me. Yes. But that's when the focus came. I want to work with people and support them.
That is quite a journey.
Yes, it was. And I left a couple of steps out, but that's okay.
But you know what the good thing about this is? Just you saying that, it says that, you know what, you are not crazy to listen to your gut, because you will know what it is that makes you happy, that you're excited about, that you actually will feel that I'm actually making a difference, but I'm having fun doing this.
Yes.
And that's the key to being in the right profession and the right business.
Yes.
I did the same thing. I came in from Zimbabwe, as you know, and I was doing computer science. Those days, it was just a celebration of, I'm going to be a bachelor's degree, and I'm having a degree, and I'm going to be a master's degree. And it was good to have a bachelor's degree, to be college educated, because that was the buzz. Get an education, get a college degree, and you have a great job. Those were the days. The difference is I ended up not doing computer science either, because then I was not a computer person that enjoyed sitting, by the screen and, navigating the computer. I couldn't do it. But I could talk to the people that were teaching me and stuff, and they would tell me their problems, and I'm just like, oh, you know what, maybe, and they said, what? The advice that you gave me that day was great. Yes. And I said, oh, okay, I guess I could make that a profession. Yes. So that was good. But today, will you agree with me that it probably would not save somebody right to just go into a degree just to get in and then make a decision later to say, that's not what I wanted, and then go back and do something else that, if you have an opportunity to find out, talk to people, talk to different people that are in different professions and get it, at least an idea of what you would at least love to do, maybe for 2-3 years after graduation, and then go back and do something else?
Absolutely. I think there's a huge difference between the States and Canada. So I have to preface this because I'm coming from a Canadian educational system where you graduate from high school and you go on to what's called college. Okay. And that's probably community college equivalent. No, it's not free, but it's pretty close to free, because I paid $197 for a semester in college. And you can still get nursing degree, you can get a mechanical engineering, it's a technical but it's still something diploma. It's concrete that will allow you to get a career and make a determination. Do I really want to stick to this field? And now I'll explore an undergrad.
So awesome.
So we have that opportunity in Canada, which makes a difference. It gives us 2 years to hopefully find ourselves a bit more before we incur a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 debt. And even then, the numbers are different. But nonetheless, it gives you a chance to find yourself. I think coming out of high school, personally coming from a West Indian background, nursing is big, engineering is big, doctors, there are certain fields that a lot of times you're really being pushed towards. And I think there's a lot of confusion as to what you want to do because you're told. You've come from a place of being directed to now being pushed into college life where we're expecting you to make decisions for yourself. How do I do that when I've been told all my life, this is what you should do, or this is where you should go? And I think our graduates are probably being confronted with this conflicting message of, you should do this, but I know I love that. Right? So as you said a minute ago about really responding to what it is internally is telling you to do versus what you've heard your whole life, this is a smart decision to make. It's a wise thing. Nurses will always have a job, but if you're not inclined to do nursing, what happens then? And how do I kind of, balance that calling I feel that may not support what my elders and the people I trust are telling me about what the rest of my life could look like?
That is a really great point. And I think, for those of you that are listening, this conversation will not only help your graduates, but will also help you as a parent, because that's the struggle. Parents have a certain way, of expectations or expecting their children to do certain degrees, to go to a certain college and do a certain thing. And we're not saying that you're wrong, but we are just saying that if you have a child that wants to do something else and their heart is in doing that, to support them.
And this is where the idea of fear is not only fear for students, but also for the parents. Because their intentions aren't really to trip you up. They are really looking into the future thinking, if I had known, I would have gone there. And so I want the best for my kid. I think for myself, one of the first things that I learned as I started paying attention to other friends who were having kids is the importance as a parent to pay attention to my children's strength and to support their strength. And this is where my faith comes in trusting that if you have that gifting, it will make way for you. And not to worry that you're not going to be a nurse. I'm afraid for you because your giftings is with a tennis racket. How are you going to make your future? If that's your gifting, I have to trust that it will open doors for you and not concern myself so much and support you in building yourself within your strength. Because I've come from the generation of focusing on your weaknesses. Where now, when we really see studies are showing you want to really build on strength.
On strengths,
So how do we do that as parents? Because if we function out of fear, we're passing on that fear to our kids as well.
And that is happening a lot. That is happening a lot. Well, listen, I'm telling you because I have the experience and I've been there and done that, and it's not going to work. Fair and fine. But unfortunately, the fact that you had to go through life to figure that out, you have to also allow your child to, go with their hearts, go with their strength, as you're saying, and figure that out on their own. And that's the scary part of letting go and allowing, the children to go with that part. So it's a conversation that's going on in a lot of homes. I'm paying for it. I'm the parent. So if I'm paying for it and you want to do what you want to do, I'm not paying for it. So now,
heard that many times.
There goes that control again, and also the fear. I'm losing all this money, and for something that you might not use because you want to go with your heart, and I know exactly what it is that you can do and get paid for it.
But here's the piece. The question is, in going in that route, and I'm speaking to parents. When you go that route, are you encouraging your children to settle for what we think is a certain thing versus exploring what they will be able to achieve, which also means removing limits? right? This society in this day and age is very different from what we've experienced or what was known for us back in the 80s, and I was still in elementary school, so I couldn't benefit from those days. But it was go to school, get a degree,
Yes.
and you'll get a great job. You'll be able to purchase your home. You'll be able, it was a very different world.
Yes.
And now we're in a, technology, social media. People are building businesses and making careers for themselves that never existed before.
That's very true.
And because we can't understand it, we fear it, and therefore we won't support them when they have a gifting that could really be the next Facebook for their generation.
That's true.
And we can't connect with it, so we kind of like create these barriers for them, and now we implement fear and this tendency to start not trusting themselves because we question so much. Why is it that good? Nobody else has done it. If it's that good, why did nobody else do it? Because he or she was meant to bring it to the front.
You're right.
Right? And so it's
right.
that thing of
You're
what are
right.
we doing?
You're right. And in the long term, it's unfortunate because then the parents, they mean well. But then, like you said, we come now to the United States and you wonder, why is it that I'm not as successful or doing exactly what I want to do after having all this education and all these trainings? And I had to also get there and question myself.
Yeah.
And guess what? Like I was telling you before the interview, I have written a book that I was still holding on to right now and thinking, is it right for me to release such a book when I haven't released myself from all the fears that are holding me back? Because it's called Unstoppable, Living a Free and Fearless Life, which means I have to let go of what the expectations were of what I'm supposed to do as the firstborn child, as an example, child, but to go and fly free and live a fearless life so that when I am doing it now, I can tell the parents and the students to say, I did it and now you can do it too. So fear is one of the biggest things that will hold people back, but that will also have the parent telling the child that, you know what, I will not support you for taking that 1 year off so that you can figure out exactly what it is that you want to do.
Yes. And it's amazing when you think of fear. I think we fear fear.
Yes. Yes.
Fear is healthy. If you think about what fear does, fear activates certain things to help you maybe stay more alert, be on top of things, be more aware. Fear, it serves a purpose. But we have now become a society where when fear comes in, we let it paralyze us instead of activating this heightened sense of awareness that can really help navigate us and help us be a little more direct in what we're trying to achieve.
You're right. You know what? Let me stop you right there for a minute. We're going to take a quick break. Forgot about the breaks. So we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Today we are talking to graduates. We are talking to the parents. But this is a show that will help you at least open your minds so that you can be free and fearless, as we are saying. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. We just took a break talking about graduation and what it is that you're going to expect, anticipate, and how you can overcome some of the things that you'll face, after graduation, whether it's college or high school. So I think, real quick, I was just going to read you the definition of what fear is, because we were talking about fear, which is a distressing emotion aroused by impending danger, evil, pain, whether the threat is real or imagined. I just like that part, whether the threat is real or imagined. So with that said, I wanted to make sure that we clarify that there are things that you'll face that are really scary and fearful, because it's change. You're going to be facing different environments, different people, different opportunities that you'll be afraid to navigate and see. And then there's going to be that fear that is imagined. So that one will be real. Meeting a new person, trying to date, those of you that will be getting married, having children, those are real fears. And then we have imagined fears, which are fears that are not real. When you come to overcome them, face them, do something that you were scared to do, because then that was an imagined fear. Well, I don't think I can do that. I don't think that's an imagined fear that you'll figure out once you do something and say, you know what, I didn't think that was scary at all. So talking about that, are there any things that you have navigated in life so far that you thought, oh my God, I never thought I could do that, but now it's a breeze?
My word, I could tell you a million times. Having a child,
Yeah.
you know, you look at the baby and you're like, I have to go home with this boy. That was scary.
Yes.
But you do it.
Yes.
Right? I believe also moving to Boston.
Yeah.
So I had made a move from Montreal to Toronto.
Okay.
That was scary.
Yes.
But I knew Montreal was only 5 hours away. I could get home. I could get back if I needed to.
Yeah.
But when I had to move from Toronto to Boston, I didn't realize how scared I was going to be until I got to the border and realized this is a different country. We're still very close, but it's a different country, and what's going to happen to me? I don't really know the culture, but I was committed, and I think a part of me has a big pride, and I wouldn't back out. I wanted to at least follow through on it and then move back if I had to.
Yes.
So that fear going through, and just also the fear of not being qualified. So I had gotten this job offer, this job opportunity that allowed me to move, but feeling unqualified and questioning if I could really do it, and were they going to see that I'm a fraud.
Is this the same job that you're doing now?
No, it was a different job.
that was a different job.
It was
Okay.
a different job.
Okay.
It was my entry-level job as a therapist.
Okay.
So that really was scary,
Yes.
to really put myself out there
Yeah.
and see how people were going to view this skill that I believe I naturally had, and would they really see what I had.
Yeah.
So that was scary, but I think Joyce Meyer says it well. She says, feel the fear and do it afraid. Just do whatever that thing is.
Do it afraid anyway, yes.
And I think for me what that means is you're going to be afraid.
Yes, you are.
And that's okay. But to overcome it and to do it anyways will be so rewarding. Because like you said, when you look back, you're like, oh, that wasn't that bad. I could do it again. Now I know I just do it differently, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah. They talk about fear being pepper thin. That it's just pepper thin, and when you go through it, it's almost like putting water, on a thin piece of paper. It just ripples, and you just walk right through it.
Yes.
So if you see every barrier, everything that brings fear as, you know what, this is a screen that is just pepper thin, and once I walk through it, action.
Yes.
Action is the very key of overcoming any fear. Just doing it is action.
That's correct.
Right?
That's correct. And that's a big part.
Yeah.
Because I think also when you think of action or overcoming anything, there's work that happens prior.
Yeah.
You have to go to school, get your degree, get your education, do your internship, research whatever it is you're trying to do. There's a lot of work you have to do as well, right? And I think if you're prepared, it'll help you feel a little more competent and ready to confront it. So anything that is new is difficult at first, but if you let the level of fear stop you from what you prepared to do, I think you're doing yourself a disservice from seeing from connecting with your greatness.
Yes. So preparation is key.
Absolutely.
Because once you prepare, and preparation for those that are going to be finding jobs, I mean, there's certain questions that you really truly have to know besides who are you and what are your weaknesses and what are your strengths, what do you bring to this job. And when that kind of question comes, you have to know what job you're getting into and what the company does and what your position that you'll be doing there will help, in the company. How you will work, with the other team members. All that requires preparation. Of preparing for those interview questions. So I think once you do that, my advice to everybody that's going to be graduating and looking for jobs is, do not be afraid to go in it and be told, you know what, sorry, we are not going to hire you because A, you didn't do well in the interview, or you don't qualify, or we have better candidates. They never told you you don't qualify. We have hired a better candidate, right?
I've never heard the word better. That would really hurt my feelings.
Really?
It
But
would.
then it better fits what we want.
Yes, absolutely.
Is the word.
I've heard that.
They better fit what we want.
Yes.
Well, yeah, they just interviewed better. They probably don't even have the same qualifications that you have, but
Yes.
you didn't have that confidence in yourself. And that's why I say, too, that we need to build that self-esteem, that
Yes.
confidence, that self-assurance.
Yes.
That, you know what, I'll bring my best.
Yes.
If I qualify for this position, then you know what, you'll hire me. Because they have to be a good fit for you, too.
Absolutely. I always tell people, you're on a 30-day probation, but they are also, so they are, put you on probation, but you are also putting them on probation because it may not be a fit. And this is sometimes something that fear does. There's a level of desperation that happens and you feel like you have to take whatever you can get. And I think it's very important to stay true to yourself, and if it isn't a fit, to be able to really be able to come back and say, no, this doesn't work, and let me realign myself and reposition myself. Absolutely, and that's a big part of it.
And talking about that, we're talking for jobs. Yes, after graduation, my recommendation: take that very first job that hires you, and you know what? Whilst you're on that 30-day probation, as you say, be on probation as well, but look for something else, because most of the time they will take the first job that comes because now I have a job. Fair and dandy, but don't shortchange yourself.
Absolutely.
If you know you got the job just to get a job and you deserve or, are supposed to be paid a higher salary than what you accepted and agreed on, keep looking, because once you get a job, for some reason,
jobs keep coming.
Jobs keep coming.
They keep coming.
They open up, and now it's like, why am I getting all these jobs here? So don't settle. Oh, but then you know what? I promised them that I'll stay here for this. No, your bills need to be paid, and that bill from that loan that you took for the student loan needs to be paid. That.
One of the big things. It's funny that you said. One of the big things that I keep hearing is sometimes I feel like our young people feel more indebted to who they work for than to themselves. So they may see that it's not working, but they end up continuing because, if I leave, then this will happen. If you leave, they will still continue to function.
They sure will.
So the question should more be, how does this work for you? How does it connect to your future? Because this is what I really want to make sure. My biggest mistake was graduating. I had been so focused, 04, 08, 04, 08. We got there. I got the job. I moved to Boston. But then I never continued to map out the future. And what happened? I got stuck. I got a bit complacent. There was no strategy. There was no course I was setting for. And so all of a sudden, 2 years later, I wake up and I'm like, where am I? Why am I here? And where am I trying to go? So when you graduate, one of the key things I definitely want to tell all graduates is, okay, you've reached this marker and you've accomplished that goal. Congratulations. Pat yourself on the back, because that was hard work. It was, right? That last paper, I know you went out to dance, you went out for drinks, you did something, and you deserved it. So that's good. But you need to now start thinking, what next? And how am I going to try to set myself up to go there? Because this is where I have to say, sometimes taking that lower paying job makes more sense because it will put you in the direction you're trying to get to, versus taking a job that pays more, but that's moving you away from where you're trying to get. So I think it's important. I did not consider the what next. And 2 years later, I wasn't depressed, but I was probably very close to a state of depression. And that's why I had to make the move to go back to Canada, kind of resolve certain things and regroup and recreate a strategy so that I could return to Boston with a plan instead of just existing. Because that's the one piece. Life happens. Debt comes in, student loan payments come in, you got to pay your part in rent, and then you start feeling like I can't leave that job because then I won't be able to manage what I need to do.
That's true.
Versus if you had a plan, you would have a thought process already in place for how you're going to manage it.
Okay, we just came back from a break, and you know what? We just realized that as we were talking, we actually were speaking to the graduates that are now going into the workplace and going to be having jobs and graduated from college. So the next segment that we'll do together with Andrele, we're going to come back and redo this again and do another segment that we'll be talking to high school students that are going into college. So in conclusion, to the students that are going into the workplace, we are going to just say to you one more thing. I think, I mean, if you have one more thing, and then I'll say one more thing, and then we'll let it be.
Well, if I talk a lot is what I'm learning right now. But if there was one more thing I would want to tell you is there are no wrong choices. You're not making a decision that drops you in a black box and you can't get out of. You are figuring things out. You're figuring yourself out and what you're great at. And I didn't say good, what you're great at. So I'm just going to encourage you to explore those things. Be safe. Definitely be safe. But you're going to hear a knocking in the direction of what you're passionate for, what you're good at. And I'm going to encourage you to listen to that and answer the knock and believe it. So that's kind of what I would want to say.